pantograph, yeah. So, this is not a pantograph. Do not think that it is, but it's like one. So, a pantograph, you look at the picture in your book, or the picture right up here, is an original copying / enlarging device.
Oh my gosh, Thomas Jefferson had a really cool one.
Yeah, so they needed them to be able to make things bigger or smaller.
All about Monticello. Duh.
So, on your dry erase board, really?
Wow.
Come on, guys. Get the materials that you need. We're a month into school. You got this.
There we go. There we go. That's cool. I'm just looking all of them. Is that okay?
They're over here and they're not over there. I don't have 2 containers of them.
How many are we supposed to?
I got markers.
Oh, there's 3. I kept going. Yeah. Wait, is it okay if we have more containers?
You don't need more than 3. Don't. Because your channels be too long. It'll be hard to work with.
Okay.
I mean, leave it now. Just I would probably say make another one of just 2 or just 3.
No, it's easy to take apart.
Okay. So draw some kind of shape on your dry erase board. But here's where we're headed. And we may need to use poster paper, but in the sake of saving paper, we're going to try this first. Go ahead, humor me, and gather around for a second. I'm just going to do this right here. So, we're going to be partners, because I also, in the sake of saving tape and being excessive, let's say I draw a triangle. And that may not be far enough in, but need your help. Hold my rubber band somewhere on the desk. Real firm in the middle. Try and pull a bit closer. Well, just do that without snapping. So, if we now make the knot line up with our vertex and make the knot follow our vertex. Don't worry about what you're drawing. Just make the knot follow it. Oh, wow. That's cool. And we will create a similar triangle. So play around with what it would be like to have a pantograph, or to have to use something like, you could just change the font size. You had to
We don't have to draw.
Right. Redraw. You what?
We don't have to draw a triangle.
You can draw whatever you want.
But
whatever you draw, now you're gonna need partners. So otherwise, if you were trying to do this alone, you would tape this down. You would tape down the ends of your rubber band. But whatever you draw, and if you put it in the center, it'll be easier. But the bigger it is, obviously, the harder it'll be to stay on. So wherever you want the marker, are you going that knot or that knot?
Either not.
So you're watching your knot.
making sure that it travels the length of the.
I've heard that.
That's so funny.
And now one of the fun things you can also do is create depth by connecting your shape in the background, your shape in the foreground.
I'm gonna drop this.
You gotta hold the other end, but I gotta hold this. So rubber band, I stretch. So if you go to this point, it'll make a larger one than if you do that point. So if you do that one, I should probably take a bump. Darn it! I think it's because the middle one still has a twist. The middle one might be bald. I mean, because then you'd have to tape it down. It's just really hard to do. I mean, you can try it by yourself. It's just tough.
Mr. Hudson, you don't help me. She's a bully.
You should have done the double before you did the triple. Starting with the double is easier. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
That's what you say when you just, take something. Ah. Yeah. So,
Sorry, I don't know how to control.
Double's easier than the triple.
I did it.
That's
Cool.
This should be one big rubber band.
This is B1.
Be one with the nature.
Look at that, y'all. I did it.
Look at that.
Wait, look at that better. You can actually. Whoa. Hey, you can help me now.
You could have phrased that a little nicer.
What?
You could have phrased that a little nicer.
Was a circle.
Here, hold it closer. No, you need to hold it.
So now, if you are realizing that what you are trying to do is not really working well with the restrictions of the notepad, or sorry, the notepad, the dry erase board, you may try this out on a larger scale.
Did it.
Actually, over here would be better because
Look at that. Doesn't that look so wobbly? Yeah, why is it so wobbly? Mr. Bender. Oh my gosh. Hi. You remember his name?
You remember Mr. Bender gave us?
Mr. Bender.
He is the guy who got married.
Ava. Gonna work. Alright.
I was. Yeah. Yeah, there's feedback written in there. By the way, a tissue works very well to erase your dry erase.
Really?
A tissue works very well.
I want enough. Oh, I'm gonna draw.
Alright, so now, what happens if your point of dilation, where you hold the rubber band, and this is where you will probably be off the dry erase board, so I wanted you guys to get comfortable while on the dry erase board. What happens if the center of dilation is inside the shape you draw? So I'm going to lay out the other one too, but I would advise a couple people pairing up and working on the poster paper.
Oh,
I'm gonna tell him about and
I knew that.
What's the magic word?
every single no, just say thank you.
It was magic. Harry Potter.
Then we get farther away from the center.
There's a song on my Discover Weekly called Harry Potter this week.
What?
Somebody just said something about Harry Potter.
Yeah, I know, I did.
So, anyone want to help me?
Mr. Hudson, did you read Boys Life?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
The jokes are just
they're
like.
supposed to be terrible. Where do you think I got my sense of
I
humor?
get them every month.
Yeah, we do too, because our brother's a Cub Scout. Well, yeah, he's a Cub Scout. But, like, he literally just takes them and then he's like, oh, hey guys, the Boys Life is here. And we all just
Want to hear some jokes?
Because
See,
he
look,
just,
I
like,
can do it
reads
with
all
one
of
hand.
the
I can
jokes
just hold
off.
it down and then do the other one.
Nice.
And it's so
Alright, step over here for a second, since no one took the bait of working on a poster paper. What shape should I draw?
Triangle.
Stick
Yeah.
man.
It's
I
hexagonal
can't
shape.
draw a stick man, it has to be one polygon.
A pentagon.
It's too big.
Alright,
Alright, come over here, guys.
hexagonal shapes.
Worst noises contain
I think it's better than you know what? I'm drawing on. Don't push me.
Yeah, but we're just gonna throw a weird something.
I did it, guys!
I love how everybody's already over here. You're just like, I did it. No.
I didn't say how to make it anything.
I never said a regular pentagon.
You never said a regular pentagon.
So,
Right.
This is not gonna be a person.
I'm not going to be able to hold this, because then I can't work around myself. Will you help me?
Yeah.
Alright, I've got other ones. We can put away Big Bertha.
That squeaks and it smells terrible.
No, it smells like Sharpies are supposed to smell.
But like it
It
smells
smells
more.
like
I think it smells like more sharp.
Alright, ready?
Jenny, don't look at me.
I don't think my shape's big enough. Crap.
Yeah, Jenny.
So this needs to be bigger.
My
So
puppy
we
did it.
tried to.
Where did the one agree?
Well, let's see if this will work.
Yes. Yeah.
Alright, try this one.
That looks like the when I first tried because I drew a circle, but then it didn't work at all.
Oh, I tried to make circle.
Oh, and you saw mine.
I saw
Oh, dang.
What is that? Touch it, don't let it go.
If you want to have the one at 4 too. Here. Let it go.
No, Chris.
I joke.
Joke.
Let it go.
This is really good.
Are you just trying to be positive this time because it was so negative last time?
I wasn't negative.
Jenny, you're always negative.
Snap.
Whoa, that's a bit hard.
Alright, so hold on. What relationship do we see here? By out. But so we had
They intersected.
two of these, right? I only have one straight line on there. But to begin with, that straight line's 2. Even with how bad I did,
That's 4.
that's 4.
About. The dilation is 2.
So wait, you said you have 1 of 4?
Yeah, right there.
What do you think will happen?
It'll get really, really,
So actually, we
big.
hold it here, so we do 3. Where was our center? Do you remember where the center was? So actually, it won't even matter if we pick a different one or just look a little different. Give me a center.
Oh shoot, this is gonna be big.
Oh, wow.
Wait, so if that's the dilation of 2.
This is gonna be dilation of 3. Oh, okay. I'd say that was pretty good.
Oh, where?
No, that was pretty
Go
good.
So,
with-
I got hold on. So, there's my question. I'm using
Dude, how are we
Darwinism. I'm using
Gunner, you want to win the Darwin Award?
3. Hold on, I have a question. I'm using 3, but I'm on not 2. What do you think the dilation factor?
That's like 1.5.
Yeah, it's
Dang.
like 1.5.
Yeah,
Yeah, circle to 5.
it's about
It's
1.5.
1.5.
So we could continue to play around with this and see what relationships happen, but 2 doubled it, right?
Yeah, because there's 2.
But I was in the center of my stretchiness, right? I just did 3 and was not in the center, right? Because I had a distance of 3 that was my stretchiness, and I was 2/3 of the distance away from my center of dilation. Because my distance was 3, I was 2/3. Are we with me?
Yeah.
So now, what happens if we go 4? What happens if our distance is 4?
Oh,
Gosh.
yeah, we did that something except it was like 2, but it wouldn't have gone nearly.
Ava, I think she's having fun.
I'm certain she's having fun.
Jenny, you need your mockery.
Whoa,
What are you talking about that?
I'm gonna choose a different side.
You didn't even finish it.
Math is so cool. I love math.
Remember in 4th grade we watched
That's one of my more favorite classes now.
You should be open my Colin.
That is true.
All is anti-group work. I'm gonna use these videos to show when CPM doesn't work.
Oh shoot.
When there's one student isolating himself from the group.
Oh shoot.
Alright, so somebody hold this. I've talked to you multiple times about this, man. Just get on the train with us.
Trust me, I hate working with
I should give you Energy Bus. It's this really good book.
Oh, I thought that you were going to say that's like an energy drink.
There's this book that my my EPP teacher gave us all like when we left, and it's a really good book called like
Yeah.
no, it's like on
Math.
it's something weird. It's like going
I got that book.
I think it's going up.
My teacher didn't do anything
So-
right. She gave us a hug and then she was
Alright, so hold on. We had a distance of 4, and I was 3.
No, who wrote that?
That's
Jenny. It's like 2.5.
So there's some
Yeah, that's like
there's some
2.5.
user error here too.
but it's about 2.5.
So you can keep playing with this, but what are we showing here? What are we utilizing?
Rubber bands to do dilation.
Where was Ava's finger?
The dilation.
The center dilation.
The center of dilation.
Yeah.
Right?
I can't.
So if I take any of these, let's say the black one again as my starter, and move my center point to inside of it,
Wait.
what happens?
Car.
No, not but so what would make it? Let me flip the question to lead you to why that is not correct. What would make it smaller? You got this, Gunner.
No, that's not.
Wait.
It will get bigger.
It'll go around though.
Every point will get further.
It'll go around.
Yeah.
What if it's
Hey,
farther
what
away
would
from
you?
the center?
Right here.
Yeah, it's actually kind of fun. I like it.
So what is the thing that tells you if you're getting bigger or smaller? Anyone remember what that's called? Ooh, close. Starts with an S.
Scale.
Dilation. Scale.
The scale of dilation.
Scale factor.
Scale factor.
Well, we were like half.
So if your scale factor is less. Crap, where did we start that one?
Less than.
Less than
One.
1. There it
Well,
falls
shoot.
apart.
Wait,
We
what
get
if you
too
do this?
close.
Wait, what if you want high
Prove our point.
Let's just make a bigger shape.
Yeah, but you guys get what I'm trying to show.
Yeah.
So here's the deal.
It'll just go
If
around
your
it.
scale factor is less than 1, that means you're getting smaller. If it is 1, you're creating a congruent shape. If it's bigger than 1, you're enlarging. If our center of dilation is inside this point, anywhere inside of it, and my scale factor is bigger than 1, my original shape will end up inside my new shape. If my scale factor is less than 1, my new shape will be inside the original. If it's anywhere outside, we'll see what we saw here, where they might overlap, they might be completely thrown off to the side, like we did on your guys' whiteboards. I would challenge you, because you guys can borrow this if you want to. I just ask that if you're going to use Sharpies, you keep a scratch piece of paper behind it. So this is like an extra piece that will move because it bleeds through. So as of now, it bled through really bad.
Oh.
That's funny.
Now we have 3 papers.
That's
Okay.
so fun too.
But yeah, so
But what if you do this? And like kind of.
some of these rubber bands are old. So one thing that we could do to fix this is make sure that all the rubber bands are exactly the same, good rubber. But then we could play with what relationship between the amount of stretch and what not you look at would create what scale factors. And I think you guys could figure that out pretty quickly. Let's go ahead and get back to our math journals. Leave that there for now.
Wait, but what if you do that? Okay.
You break it again.
I won't. So like.
It's me.
Did you just make it smaller?
I'm gonna draw Tia's face.
Yeah, I think it'll still be a point.
This is going to work.
What is? What? Are you serious?
Christopher, what are you doing? It's going to work. Are you doing a sticky trick?
He's dialing a stick figure.
Oh, I did it. I did that.
It's kind of big.
Whoa, be nice.
Yeah.
All right.
It worked, Mr. Hudson.
Let's look at 48.
Sort of.
Nice.
Yeah.
I
thought
love
it
that.
was Y'all.
Yeah, see, look.
Y'all.
All right, so check 48. Now you're gonna need a textbook. So at least a textbook per pair of people. You remember those kids' books? Where it was like one of these things is not like the others. One of these things is not the same. So we have what looks to be a set of similar syllables.
Nope.
One of these things is not like the other.
Oh no.
It's that one.
It's that one. I think
that
Well, of course it's that one if you're not pointing from a distance.
It's that one.
It's the bottom left.
So we can all pretty quickly see it's the bottom left, right? What is it missing?
The little hole.
It's missing the second sail. Or third sail, actually. I guess there's two sails on that. So, now again, I have tracing paper if you would like. I have tracing paper. Or inspect these sets, and your task is to find one of these things not like the others, but instead of being congruent, We're looking for similar or not similar. So what breaks it? What messes this up? So I will grab the box of tracing paper. I know when I offered it last time, people didn't really feel like they needed it. And a lot of papers these days thin enough that you don't even need it necessarily. So take a moment with your teams, check out part A and part B, little a, little b, figure out which shapes. Yeah, you honest. Depending on how good you are at recognizing relationships.
I know what first one is.
The first one is easier than the second one, but they're both the same.
What? Oh, ooh, okay, so good. Why? You said the first one's easier than the second one. Why?
Well, it's, I guess, a bigger change, or at least it seems like a bit of a bigger change than the second one.
Well, the second one's still.
But
Second one's
what?
still fairly easy to just see, but it's harder.
What else happens in the second one that doesn't necessarily happen in the first one?
There's one that's
There's,
like rotated.
there's
Rotations.
no, not, well, I guess it could be rotation or reflection.
Yeah, there's some compositional isometries that maps. So compositional isometries, remember, any combination of rigid motions. So rotation and translation and reflection, any of that stuff. So B throws in a little bit more because we don't just have the same directional facing objects. So for part A, anyone want to venture a guess for which one does not map similarly? Ava? Sorry, did you? D?
Sorry.
Why?
Because the sides that are like this, I don't know.
The kind of vertical sides?
Yeah, they're long. They're like at a different angles.
Ooh. What do we say if one side is like, let's say, like half, I'm just making stuff up here, if it's like half of the corresponding?
Similar.
Yeah, say you need 2 apples per student, and you set up 8 apples for 4 students, 16 for 8. These would all be equal because they're all starts with a P. Proportional. So one term that we use, we're probably going to want to write this down, when we talk about some pieces matching and could be similar and other pieces not, is disproportionate. So disproportionate means that there's like some pieces could match, other pieces are too long, too big. Some angles could match, other ones get skewed off. Things like that. In B, anybody want to venture a guess there? Colin?
How about shape G?
G? Why do you think?
Well, if you look at it from the, I believe the largest angle in all the triangles, largest angle in G, if we're assuming from a visual standpoint,
Yeah.
is smaller than the rest.
So you're saying this obtuse angle would be smaller than this obtuse or that obtuse or that?
Yes.
You are correct. And if we grab tracing paper, we could check that. Or if we had a pantograph, we could check that. Very good work, guys. So, are these triangles similar? Is everything proportionate to the other in 49? Then, if so, which congruent statements can be used? So take a minute, talk with each other. Are they proportional? How do you know?
They have the same area,
But it's not look very similar. So if they're drawn to scale, then I don't think they can.
No, that's not similar, because when you flip it around, it doesn't correspond.
I'm gonna give that back to you.
Guys, if it looks too basic, it's not for you.
Leave it there.
Hey, what do you mean?
The thing that was there wasn't needed for us.
This. I don't think you guys took one, because the same thing happened. Sorry, I normally like put this down or something.
Mine's basic.
Jenny.
So, what were you saying, Ethan? You said it doesn't look like
it says they're drawn to scale, but this looks like different enough that I
Like the angle measure.
and also if you try to map this on with like the 18 going to the 9, 16 to
Very similar. See if the angles are like if they're equal size angles. Because similar still has to hold angle congruence, right? And there's somebody else who asked. As soon as I grab any.
I think they are similar.
wait, actually
I like the way
that
our eyes can trick us, guys. No, it's Tracy.
Whoa!
But what is that with candy on
Oh, this is just a taffy box because it fits.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, wait,
Haha.
you left me off this
Never
part.
mind.
This is almost a perfect rectangle.
You're an advanced. You're integrated advanced. You're not.
Good enough for
Okay, well, I
everyone.
messed up.
There we go.
Oh no,
Play with tracing paper for a couple minutes. We got time today.
Yes, I like
What?
See, once somebody takes some, you're like, okay, I'm not too cool for tracing paper.
I'm too cool for tracing.
No one's
I see it now.
no
Oh
one
yeah,
is too
just come
cool
right
for
behind the
tracing
thing and grab it.
paper.
Or with a class like this, it's so small, it doesn't matter. But if we're crowded, you can always slip behind the counter.
Oh, I already missed it.
So what'd you notice?
It actually is
The angles are actually congruent.
Bro.
So what threw you off is that it's reflected and not at a straight line.
I thought that you put it on like something like that,
So it,
but
Wait, it says
Flips
they're drawn to scale. so
like
it's
that.
definitely not.
but at an angle.
yeah, I see that.
Yeah. So it's just awkward. Your eyes mess with you.
If I look at it like that and then like this, I can actually
All the
see it
angles
better.
line up.
But
I just see it going like
Yeah.
this. I can see like reflections this way.
Aw.
All right, so check B. Once you play with Sorry, I'm really used to being really loud because the second grade classes. I will try to turn down for you guys. Check B. Sorry, I really should turn it down. You guys aren't that loud. Check B. Which statements would hold true? Because you got to check the order. Order is imperative in congruent statements.
that's a big cat. Or a small dog.
That's what they need to do. I
That's
see
a
it.
fat
I see
cat.
what you're saying.
It's a fat cat.
That cat is twice the size of that dog.
You could be a chihuahua.
Wait.
That is true. It'd be like a
Good
fat
enough.
cat and like a little tiny puppy or something, or a chihuahua.
Oh, you're gonna be area man.
Yeah.
Actually,
I hate that.
we could figure that out. If your dimensions double, what happens to
Dogs
the
are so much better than dogs.
Think about what would happen to a rectangle if you double the length. Quadruple the rectangle. Will it do the same to a triangle?
Dogs are boring.
Dogs are intelligent.
That'd be more
Dogs are boring.
All dogs are smart.
Which statements are written correctly? Does one work? Does dog match the cat?
Are you seriously saying that dogs are smarter than cats?
Yes.
They're not.
We're not having this debate right now. They are, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Cats not know enough for themselves.
So
Dogs need to
dogs.
be taken out for that.
Okay, moving forward. So what about II? Does dog map to CTA? Central Transit Authority?
Yep. A dog is as a
What?
CPA.
What about III, OGD,
Our friend checking right
Oh,
now.
ATC?
but why doesn't it? Where?
It doesn't. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Wait,
I use
What's one? Hold up. What's one technique that we can use? Looking, so we know 5 maps to 10, 9 maps to 18, 8 maps to 16. Chris?
So what I did was I just put the points and the names of points on my tracing paper, and I just lined the small one up with the big one. The one on my tracing
Yeah.
paper up with the other triangle.
You get like the one inside the other or whatever.
So I could just easily.
Now you will have to flip it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like upside down or whatever. Because it reflects. Another way that we can do this, OGD goes 5 to 9. So if what I go to maps correctly, it should go 10, then 18. ATC goes 10, then 16. Do you see that? OGD, start here, 5, then 9.
That's what I do.
ATC, 10, then 16, those are not the similar sides, doesn't work. So DGO goes 9 to 5, CAT 18 to 10. Is it correct?
Which one are we on?
I'm on 4 now. 3 did not work. 3 with blue did not work.
It does
I
work.
don't. It
Maps on the cat.
4 does. Because it goes 9, then 5.
So did we get?
Double that would be 18, then 10.
Did we get no yes, no yes?
No yes, no yes. So 2 and 4 both work. Roman numerals 2 and 4 both work.
Equals 4 equals 6. So obviously number 6
Obvious.
doesn't work.
Wait a minute. Which
Um,
one is number 6?
you guys are kind of playing with things and doing whatever. Take the rest of the time for yourselves.
I got homework.
I know you guys.
Hey.
We can have this as a conversation.
How much time do we have?
About 8 minutes.
Let's talk about some dogs.